So Elise founded an organization which is called She for Climate.
She changes climate.
She changes climate. And I think it was very appropriate because for us, as I was saying, we are doing this conference around the role of women in climate change, both as victims of the climate change, but also as agents of change, as women who can actually mitigate and adapt to the new situation. So we're very excited because Elise has agreed that she will be part of our conference. And to launch this, we asked Elise to be with us today to tell us a little bit about the work that she does and also to answer questions. So Elise, je te laisse parler.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it's a real pleasure to be here. It's been a long day actually. I've been teaching and I woke up very early this morning, but I didn't want to miss it. And it's wonderful actually to read about Giving Women. Just the title, Giving Women. I just love that name because we live in a society where we extract so much from women. Our energy, our time, everything. We all have like 2, 3, 4 jobs if you think about our families and our work and everything we want to do for the community. So this is about giving back to women, and how can we also give back to nature? How can we regenerate our feminine energy? How can we regenerate life on Earth for climate people and nature? And that's also at the heart of our project as She Changes Climate. I love your values as well. We embrace your values. I can see that Giving Women was created with so much care and compassion for women from around the world, including all of you here, including all of us. And She Changes Climate as well. It started with a lot of passion, a lot of compassion also for women leaders who have decided to put the climate emergency as #1 on their agenda. So this is what we do. We work on women leadership for the climate negotiations. We advocate for a 50-50 vision at all levels of decision making because we think that men and women together perform better and we can deliver better outcomes when women are at the table. This is true for climate negotiations, but also for peace negotiations. And right now it's an emergency. It's a planetary emergency for climate, people, and nature, and it's all connected. When you're from Greece, so obviously your country is still recovering from the forest fires, and then suddenly these floods, and the floods in Libya as well, and there are millions of people being affected by climate-related disasters. We know that the El Nino effect is going to be very, very strong, and this is causing a lot of grief and pain for millions of people and affecting livelihoods around the world. So yes, women and girls are being affected more than anybody else. They represent 80% of climate refugees, and women are also 14 times more likely to die in natural disasters. So if you look at the floods that happened in Pakistan, a lot of girls and women died, first because they didn't know how to swim. Nobody had taught them how to swim, but also because very often they don't have access to information, they don't have access to the internet, to the cell phone, and also they stay behind to look after the babies, the elderly. And so one of the top priorities of the UN Secretary General, actually this week in New York, is to scale up the number of people, and especially women and girls, who have access to an early warning system. So at least to have the information that there's a flood coming and that we need to prepare for it and the families prepare for it. So that's #1 priority. #2 priority is of course the phase out of fossil fuels. It's very difficult. We know our economy is addicted to oil and gas, and this is going to be at the top of the agenda for COP28. We all know that this COP is going to be probably the largest COP ever, but also potentially the most controversial COP ever, because we know that the president of COP is Sultan El Jaber, so he's also the CEO of an oil company, the largest oil company in the country, and also the 5th largest oil reserve in the world. Since COP1 in 1995, that was when Angela Merkel was chairing the first COP actually ever. She was Minister of Environment at the time. There has been only 5 women appointed as president of COP. in 28 years. So in the climate negotiations, there's still a huge gender gap. Last year in Sharm el-Sheikh, there were only 36% of delegates that were women, and only 20% of heads of delegations were women. So we're really working hard to have women at the heart of the climate negotiations, women at the table, not just the 50-50 balance, but also meaningful participation. And obviously the phase out of fossil fuels is going to be top of the agenda for COP28. The energy transition is a critical issue for people from around the world, and the challenge with the COP presidency is how do you restore the trust? You know, how do you restore the environmental integrity? So we are making the choice as She Changes Climate to support the women who are on the inside of the UAE government, who are working really hard to restore environmental integrity, to restore the trust in the multilateral system. I know there are people who want to boycott COP. We think we actually need more dialogue between countries if we want to be the peaceful world. So we are supporting Hana El Hashimi, Hazan Al Mubarak, maybe you know these names, and doing our best to also give them some visibility and credibility in the media. And we are also working as a member or a partner of what is called the Dandelion movement. Maybe you've heard about it.
That's how we met.
Dandelion. So Dandelion is this massive initiative. It's like a network of networks, and She Changes Climate is one of the strategic partners. It was co-created by Mary Robinson and Hafsat Abiola. And I have the pin here. Dandelion is a flower that is one of the few flowers that grows on the 7 continents around the world. It's very resilient, and so you know, whether people like it or not, they grow everywhere. They multiply very quickly, and it's also a symbol of hope. Obviously, the bright color, the yellow flower, it's also when life comes back after the winter, in the springtime. And so we feel that, yes, you know, today if you look at the climate science, it's very dark, but actually the future could be very bright. It can be bright because the solutions are there. They are just in front of us. We know what they are, you know, investing in renewable energy, energy saving, investing in nature, reforestation, building sustainable cities and public transport. We know we can do this, but what is lacking really is the political leadership and the finance to scale up these solutions. So now with Dandelion, with She Changes Climate, with Healing Women, with many others, we want to grow this movement led by women, led by all of you, to really, really make climate the top priority. We have no choice now, and we must do this for our children, for the children of the earth, for the generations to come. But we really, really need to align and unite and move very quickly. The window of opportunity is shrinking. So let's do this together. And in terms of next steps, well, you're all welcome to join the Dandelion movement. So there's a website where you can join. You're welcome to join also our She Changes Climate group of partners. We're going to convene an online summit, a pre-COP28 summit on the 21st of November, which is open to everybody. You don't need a UN accreditation to take part of it. And also this is going to be a global day of action that we are co-organizing with Dandelion. Then we're going to be at COP28 on the inside. We say we are also the Dandelioness. So Sultan El Jaber might be surrounded by lionesses. And yes, we'll be very, very pleased to contribute to your climate conference here in Geneva next year. But yes, let's just mobilize and make our voices heard on climate. Thank you.